Okay, gold prices went dramatically to the upside. We've seen that particular price action in terms of gold in 2025. By the end of 2025, the prices began to go parabolic. What do I mean by parabolic? The price was increasing, but then it all of a sudden just went like this, straight up. And that created a lot of FOMO. FOMO, what is FOMO? That is fear of missing out. People thinking that they also want to get involved in. But the problem really was that gold prices at the time were very expensive because we started to go into the $5,000, especially in this particular year, we started to go in a $5,000 price range. Now, not everyone can afford gold to trade at that level or to buy at that level. So people began to think, okay, what is the next biggest alternative in terms of the price action that they can go and then they can buy? So something which comes up and jumps naturally to them was silver. So in the middle of last year, silver prices, which were already gained a lot of momentum because gold prices were moving higher and people were already thinking, brought a lot of new speculators in the playground, and they started to buy silver blindly, thinking that it is going to go up. This is a very funny story. I was in Dubai around that time in December time, and I was getting off my taxi, and my team, they were recording that particular scene, and they asked me, because we did this YouTube live at the time, not live but a sort of a video, and then they asked me, what do you think where silver price is going to go? At the time silver was trading around $58. I said that the next natural stop for silver is going to be $100, and then we still have that video up on our YouTube channel. Go and watch that one, that'll be exciting. But the exciting thing was that the person who was sitting and driving the car, the driver of the car, he said a lot of people, he just mumbled to himself, said a lot of people come and then they just speculate the price for no reason. There's no way silver price will go to $100. And I looked at him and I smiled. I said, okay, if that is your view, that is your view. But with me being in the industry, those of you who know me, you will already know my experience. And for those who don't know, I mean, I come with a wealth of 20 years of investment banking experience. I have worked as a hedge fund trader for Bank of New York Mellon. I've worked as an equity trader with Bank of America. I do regular TV guests with Bloomberg, CNBC, and all the tier ones. And then on top of that, there are quotes, articles that we write on the major televisions. And on the newspapers. I'm also writing for the Wall Street Journal and for Forbes. So all what I'm saying is like, okay, so I looked at him, I said, okay, if you don't want to believe that silver price will reach to $100, that is up to you. But I think from where I'm looking at, the prices will go. And the prices obviously did go last week, well above $100. In fact, they went up to $121. And that Friday was the first time that we did our first live YouTube feed. So what happened on Friday was that we saw a massive loss in terms of gold prices, in terms of silver prices. And the first question comes to mind was that why gold and silver prices started to sell off the way that we saw on Friday, because we saw a sharp sell-off. We've done videos on the gold and silver sell-off, so you can go and watch those particular videos. But the question which naturally came to mind was like, why that sharp sell-off happened? And we're going to come to the point where the price is today. And if this remains an opportunity, we're going to cover all of that one in this particular video. Stay with us while we uncover the whole story for you. So on Friday, when it dropped, everyone was asking why that happened. All of that happened for a number of reasons. So here are the reasons. Number one, gold and silver, they are not your traditional investments like stocks, meaning they don't have a huge amount of liquidity. Liquidity means that if you want to get out of a position, you can get out of a position like that. I know from a retail trader's perspective, you will be thinking, name, what are you saying? If I press sell, I just come out. If I buy, I just go and buy that. But that is you doing it through a broker, but broker is doing it with an exchange. And then with an exchange, that's where the problem comes in terms of how much you can do it. And I was actually, we had this particular discussion. Remember during the time when oil prices fell in COVID to -0 and then began to drop to $20 and $10, a lot of brokerage companies, they tried to screw their traders by increasing the margin requirement. Now, let's simplify that. What is a margin requirement? Margin requirement is the minimum amount of money that you have to have with a broker in order to trade, especially when you're taking a loan on that one. We will create more simplifications on those particular videos, but I can't go into any further simplifications on that one. But that is what it is. So they increased them, and then what brokers were trying to do at the time, they were trying to protect themselves. They did not want new positions to come in. They did not want people to come in at a $20, $15 or the $12 price of oil and then buy and then look where oil prices are trading as of now. Now they are trading, around the 60s and 50s. They did not want the traders to win that, right? So they said, okay, we're going to increase the margin requirements and we're not going to let anyone new to buy in. Simple as that. So the situation that happened on Friday was very much similar, but at a much higher level, which did not follow through in terms of traders because it was going to come with the traders as well. So Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is the main hub for brokers to have that kind of a liquidity to get their orders triggered, they said okay to all institutions, big funds, smart money, hedge funds. They said to them, now you have to increase your cash deposits with us, because gold was supposed to be very safe haven asset. It was supposed to be something which was never used to trade how it is trading. It never had that kind of a volatility. Volatility in simple terms means like if something is moving $10 a day and then all of a sudden it begins to move $20 a day, that is called volatile, because now the volatility has increased twice. And then gold used to move only $100, I remember. And then even during 2015 and 2016, $100 move used to consider as a big move, okay? So what happened was that even I remember in 2014, 2013, $40 move in a day used to be considered as a huge, big move in terms of a gold price. So on Friday, when it happened and the prices started to go back up, these exchanges, they said, okay, you know what? Now we are going to increase the margin requirement. And the banks and the institutions which were trading gold, they had in their portfolios and they started to increase. They could not really come up with the cash because they were not expecting that. So what that led to was a sell-off, a big sell-off. The kind of a sell-off that we saw on Friday. And we saw massive money coming out of the market. Now, on Wall Street Journal, I've written the article on Friday night, the day that this sell-off really happened. And a new article on Wall Street Journal will be published today and tomorrow. Just sent it to the editor. And that article was about, okay, what happens next? We saw the sell-off, we know the reasons why the sell-off has happened. Now tell us, should you buy and should you sell? So in the article that I published on Wall Street Journal and the conversations that we did on Friday, my answer to that question was, if you want to know, should you buy gold or silver, silver was trading in around $84 and gold was trading in around $4,400. If you want to ask yourself, if that is the question that you are facing, that should you buy or should you sell, you have to ask yourself two separate questions. Question number one is, do you think that gold or silver price will reach back towards its all-time high, right? And that was that in terms of a gold, that was about 5,600 approximately, and in terms of the silver, it was approximately 121. And when you ask that question to yourself, you have to know that the reason why you think gold and silver prices will go back to those particular levels. You have to have that solid answer. If you don't, then there is some digging to do. I mean, you need to do more research. You need to understand. Or you just simply need to watch our channel where we break down everything in a very simple way. I always call my team and then say to them, we have to break it down like we are telling it to a donkey. So the content needs to be so simplified, so easy to understand for anyone with zero background of finance. They need to know this one. And then they always, try their best to explain that. So if you want to understand the answer to the question if the prices will go back to that particular levels, then obviously do go watch our videos, because we have explained that one when we put videos every day explaining the market dynamics and how and why that can happen. That was your first question. So the first question again was, will the price go back to the levels that we've seen last week for gold and for silver? And then you need to know the answer for that one. The other question that you need to ask yourself if you are facing a situation which a lot of investors are facing themselves today is that, should you buy gold or silver now? Right? That was the question. And then the follow-up question is like, what happens now? Will we see another low, or will it continue to move to the upside? And I will give you the answer to that one as well. I mean, like we have another 5 minutes to uncover everything, and then if anything is left off, post your comments, post your questions on this particular feed, and then we will answer them for you for sure. So if you have always any question, the team is very much active. They always answer those questions. So the other question is, what kind of trader are you? When you are facing the question, should you buy gold and silver, the answer to that question lies by you asking yourself one important thing, which is, what kind of investor or a trader are you? Are you looking for a short-term volatility? Are you looking for a long-term volatility? Because if you can honestly answer this particular question, then you will have the answer to the other question as well, which would be like, should you buy or should you hold? Meaning, continue to stay on the sidelines, on the side, and wait for the prices to correct. So by having a strategy, because this is what we've done in my times at banks when I was working as a hedge fund trader, we used to ask logical questions and used to provide logical answers and used to make strategical decisions based on that one. So if you could come up with them, and if you cannot come up with the answers of those ones, or if you have answers to those ones and you wanted to get an opinion from us whether that is correct or what that was, like, we'll be certainly happy to present a view, not an advice, because this is I'm not your financial advisor. And again, disclaimer is always in, which is purely for education, but we'll be able to give you some comments. So one question which the team is just asking me, it says, what price drop you see next for gold? This is an excellent question. Very, very good question. The price level, will it go lower from here or will it go higher from here? It boils down to a number of different things. Look, the price of gold today, it is up, or from its lows that was formed yesterday, it is up 12%. There are a few scenarios that it can play. Again, guys, I appreciate the questions. Keep them coming, because the more questions that we have, the more answers that we can give. We have a lot of questions, but we'll be able to post the answers afterwards. So two things can happen. The low which was formed yesterday, that will stay in, and then now prices will continue to rise from here onwards. Okay, if that low which was formed yesterday, that can have two scenarios. Number one, it can be retested, and if it retests, you don't do anything, because you already have a position. You leave that position. I will leave that position for myself. I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about you. This is not an advice. I would be okay for the price to continue to move higher because I already have my first position in, and then my target is all-time high and beyond that one. That is my target. If the price goes up and then that cast bounce happen and it comes back and tests the same low which formed yesterday and then goes back up, I am very happy with that because I already have a position. But if price does not stop to the lows of yesterday and breaks down, I would be more happy because now I have an opportunity to buy gold price at even much lower. Now the question was that how low it can go. It will go right towards 4,000 mark, it will go right towards 3,800 mark, and I will be even more happy if the price goes to 3,500 mark. Where I will be absolutely delighted to see that price action correction and then buy even more. Because all what I will be doing will be buying them based on our thesis under which we know that why prices will go back up and what would make them go higher. Again, if you wanted to continue to ask these questions, you wanted to know the answers of these questions, they are in our daily videos. They come into that, but ask more questions and then we'll be able to come back with more answers. But I think for this particular live feed, we're gonna end this feed over here by giving you clear and precise answers. Clear and precise answers that we talked about. Gold prices are up 12%. Silver prices are up 24% from yesterday's low. We are very comfortable how the price action is working because we continue to think that the price action will continue to move higher. At the same time, what I think is if prices go lower, I would be incredibly happy to buy more because I know what kind of investor I am. That tells me that when to buy, when to sell, what time zone that I am, how long I'm going to think about that. And number two, I know what can drive the prices up or down. Okay, so in terms of our fundamentals, I am very, very confident that this price action that we have seen will continue to the upside. In the next one, which we will hold tomorrow, of course, we will answer more of a Q&A that you may have. And you can always post your questions. Don't forget to subscribe and like our channels because your support does mean the world to us. And tomorrow we're going to cover from here onwards, and possibly we will talk about silver and we will talk about the current bounce that is happening in the price and what is driving that bounce in the market. That's all. Thumbs up.